Okay, welcome to the fourth version of our tutorial on our solution. Okay, let's look at question number 7. Question number 7, we have to write an SQL query using the minimum, the maximum, and the average on sales. So we are going to say select what is the first command? It's minimum, right? So minimum of what? This is what sales amount. So we are going to use what? Amount. Okay, we have it here. We are going to use amount. So minimum of what? Amount. And then we're going to name it as what? As minimum. Okay, as minimum. Somebody might argue, should I, if I want, I can remove or ignore this. Yes, you can ignore it, but the consequence is that if you have this amount here, like 1000 as your minimum, it will be represented EXPR001 on top, okay, which will not make any sense. But if you write it as minimum at the end of the on top of the figure, it will be written like minimum. Anyone who sees this 1000 will know this is the minimum amount. So we have the minimum, comma, we have maximum, max. So maximum you write max, and minimum also you write min. So this is how SQL recognize them. Okay, you don't write them in full, but here it doesn't matter how you feel like writing it here, because it's not an SQL statement here. It doesn't consider as what SQL language or SQL recognize it as a command. So but this one is SQL command. So maximum of what? Amount. We want to name it as what? As maximum, comma, average. So average also AVG, that's how we write it. Average of what? Amount as what? Average. Okay, from which table are you selecting this? From customer table. Sorry, amount is found on the what? Product table. Okay, so we are getting this information over this amount from where? From the customer table. I think this point is clear, right? Now let's look at question number 8. What is the most common gender among customers? So we want to identify which customer, okay, is the is mostly purchase mostly purchase a commodity, okay, a commodity. That's why we want to identify which customer what is the most common gender among customers, whether it is female that sorry about that. So whether it's the female that purchases this commodity frequently, or it is the male that purchases this product frequently. So we want to identify what is the most common gender among our customers, okay, our most common gender. Or in the other way around, we can interpret it like what is the most common gender among our customers, among all our customers, which gender is what most commonly purchase the product. Okay, now we are going to identify our table here. So we know that we are talking about customer table because gender is found on our customer table. And then which column are we talking about? Is gender, isn't it? And did they give us any information about whether the gender is male or female? Not. So that's why we are finding which gender, because in this row it must be either male or female, but they don't give us the type of the gender. So we are finding which type of the gender is most common, whether it is male or a female. So we are going to say question number 8, select what? Sorry about that, let me remove this one. I'm going to say select. Okay, so do we have any column that doesn't have information? Yes, we have a column that doesn't have information, so this column will come at the beginning. That's gender. Okay, but now what is the most common? So we are going to say select all from. Okay, are we together? select all from customer, select all from customer where, sorry, which one is the most common. So we are going to say select, let me rub this, sorry about that. Because let me try to look at the question very well. What is the most common gender among customers? Okay, now we need information about the gender, is it? We need information about the gender. So we are going to say select what? Gender. Okay, because of what, we don't have any information under this gender here. You can see it here. See, we're going to bring this column at the beginning. So we're going to say select gender, comma, count, because we want to know which gender is most common. So we are going to count what? So count the number. So we can represent asterisk sign with the number here. You can say asterisk here. So when you say asterisk sign here, something like this, okay, it will represent the most common gender. Okay, so this asterisk here, it means what? Count the number of rows. Okay, the frequency of the rows of these genders. So that's what it means here, count. So if you say count, you put asterisk, means what? The number of occurrence of these genders. So that's the importance of this count here. So select count, in bracket open, you say asterisk. Okay, now as what? So we want to name this. When you count this, when you count this, the number of rows of the frequency, number of rows occurrence, we want to name it as, let's name, okay, you can say name what, you can say what, as gender, isn't it? You can say that's more simple, as what, gender, as gender. Now we are selecting this from where? From customer table, from customer table. Okay, where what? Gender, where gender equals to what? Male, and then this male must be in quotation, because of what? We know that male is a string, where gender equals to male, or where gender equals to female, and this also must be in what? Quotation, since they are string, where gender equals to, or where gender equals to female. Okay, now where is gender equals to female? Group by group by what? Gender, group by gender. So descending. So when you talk about descending, I will explain this. Descending, this mean what? Descending order. Descending order mean from the what? The lowest or to what? The highest. Okay, descending. Okay, then I can use another command called what? Limit. Limit to what? This is limit, okay, to 1. Okay, limit to 1, and then we use our what? Semicolon. Okay, so let's start to say this. Select gender, count with asterisk, mean what? Count the number of what? Occurrence of this gender as gender from customer, where gender equals to male. So it's either gender equals to male or gender equals to female. And then you say group by is the same as you want to order by, or you want to arrange it based on the gender. So descending mean what? From the smallest to the highest, because we want to know which gender is the highest or the most common gender occurrence. Okay, and limit here, when you talk about limit here, it's also an SQL command. Limit to 1, what does it mean? So limit to 1 is used to fetch the top row, the top information, which represent the what? The most common what? Gender, the most common gender, because they want us to find what? the most common gender. Okay, now let's go to question number 9. Which customers have an address in a specific city? Which customers have an address in what? In a specific what? City. Okay, now let's identify how many tables do we have here. Still now we have customer table because we says which customers has, so, and also in a specific, which specific city. So here we need city, but this city here we can represent it as what? Address, because we have address in our table. So did they give us any information about the city? Two things here. They says what? Specific city. So this specific here, actually I don't know what it means, but if at all the name of the address is specific city, then we can name it as specific city. Okay, so you can put it in this way. Okay, you can say what? Select what? Okay, select let's see, because we have the first, we have address here, so we are going to use what? Select what? All from what? Customer, where what? The address, okay, equals to what? This and that and that. Okay, so from customer where address is equals to. So one thing I want to clarify here, since the question says what? A specific city. Okay, so that's why I said this specific here, if at all is talking about the name of the city, we can name it as our address as specific city. But if at all the question is trying to say is this city must be a specific, shouldn't be what? Blank, we can use what? The city equals to not node, mean cannot be a zero value. But if at all the city name is specific city, we can say is what? From customer where address equals to what? Specific city, and we're going to put this in quotation. We are going to say what? Specific, we're going to use underscore specific city, and then we bring our what? Semicolon. Okay, if at all that's what the question is referring to, because the question says which customer have an address in a specific city. So the question here does not clarify whether this specific is the name of a city or not. So that's the complication of the thing. But the question, the way it's framed, is kind of what? The structure is kind of weird. Okay, now let's go to question number 10. Update the address of the customer with customer ID 001 from Fajar to Banjul. So I'll remove this. So we already have customer table, I guess, in this question. Update the address of the customer. So we are talking about the customer table, isn't it? With customer ID 001 from Fajara to Banjul. So this customer ID is talking about what? Customer ID, which is also in the customer table. Fajara to Banjul is talking about address of the customer, which is also found in the customer table. So basically all our information here, they are in the customer table. So let's identify, we have address here, and then under the address, did they give us any address? Yes, this is what? Fajara to what? Fajara to Banjul. Okay, now let's try to write out this SQL question. Now in probably in question number in recording number 5, we're going to discuss about how the query will look like. Okay,